Good morning, Fossil Ridge. It is going to be our third installment today of our school-wide expectations. Today we're just going to kind of review some things that we've gone over the last couple of days as we've talked about school-wide expectations. And then once we review those items, I want to talk to everyone in the building about some of our celebrations and recognitions, positive reinforcements that we will use as a school-wide community to reinforce the fact that our students are meeting those expectations and that our students are doing great things. First of all, before we review some of those items, I just want to congratulate all of you on such a great first week at Fossil Ridge. We have had very few problems. Our students have been very respectful. Our students have followed and lived up to our expectations as we have shared them with you. And our students continue to be wide-eyed and happy and enthusiastic to be here. And as the principal and as a school, we just want to congratulate you on your behavior this first week and encourage you to continue to display that same behavior throughout the remainder of the year. And if that happens, we're going to have a fantastic school year in 2017-2018. So with that being said, I just want to quickly review some of the expectations that we've talked about and field some questions that have come my way from some of our students regarding a few of our expectations, and then move on to talking about some of our celebrations and recognitions that we have for our student population. First of all, a question that came in from Glenn Campbell. He wants to know, why can we not have cell phones out during the school day? Why can't we have cell phones during lunch? Why can't we have cell phones in between class? And even why can't we have cell phones out during class? First of all, I want to refer specifically to that last part. You can have a cell phone out during class if, and only if, your teacher is using that cell phone as part of classroom instruction on that particular day, using that as a piece of technology to enhance teaching and learning in the classroom that day. If a teacher has not given you permission to get your cell phone out during class time, then you must have it turned off, and it must remain in your backpack throughout the class period. It just becomes a huge disruption to the learning environment, to your own learning, because your attention is elsewhere, and to the learning of the other students in that class. And the same goes for throughout the rest of the day. Why can't we have it out during lunch? Well, last year, we had a lot of trouble with students using their cell phones in inappropriate ways, and then posting certain things on social media that were completely inappropriate, not only in a school setting, but in any setting. And so, we just cannot allow cell phones to be out in the halls or during lunch out in the commons. If you need to use your cell phone, you may use it before school, before the first bell rings, after school, or during the day. You may use your cell phone if you need to make an emergency phone call home, and that phone call on your cell phone must take place in the front office. Other than that, no cell phones, as we talked about the other day. So in class, only if your teacher has asked you to get them out and asked you to use them as part of the learning for that particular day, and before or after school. Second question, why do we have to walk in the halls, Mr. Howell? Well, to me, that's an easy one. We need to walk in the halls and up and down the steps so that we don't injure ourselves or injure other students or adults that are in the hallways or on the stairwells. It's all about safety. We don't want you hurt, and we don't want anybody else hurt because someone is running frantically down the hall or up and down the stairs. Another question. This one came from George Washington, and he asks, why does it matter if we're tardy, Mr. Howell? what does it hurt if we're a little bit late? Well, speaking on behalf of our teachers, it hurts a lot. It not only does it slow your learning for that particular day, but again, it disrupts the learning of the other 28 to 30 students in that particular classroom. It usually causes everyone to, hey, look at this student that came in late, and their attention goes elsewhere, and then the teacher is forced to redirect everybody, and class time is not only wasted but lost for everyone, not just the student that's tardy. So it is crucially important for your learning and your success in the classroom to be to class on time. Another question. This one came from Sally Ride, and Sally says, after school, why do you want us out of the commons so quickly? Well, the bell rings at 2 o'clock, and the buses generally leave between 2:05 and 2:10, and if we've got a lot of people hanging out in the commons, then quite a few of you are going to either be late for the bus or completely miss the bus. The other thing it avoids is any kind of issue after school with kids kind of congregating in that one big spot. And generally when that begins to happen, we begin to have a few discipline problems that we need to take care of. So again, after school, we're asking everyone to leave the building as quickly as possible. Those of you that are going out to the buses, quickly out to the buses to catch your ride home. And those of you that are walking or catching a ride, do so in the same fashion, but perhaps you're going out the front doors instead. Another question, really good question here. Why in the mornings and during lunch do we have to stay out of the halls, and why can't we go into the library? Well, here's a couple of reasons why. First of all, in the mornings, our teachers are still trying to get prepared for the day. And as they're trying to get prepared for the day, we are supporting that by keeping the halls clean and free of disruption and distraction. And so we've just simply asked students to stay out of the halls so our teachers can focus on what they need to focus on for the given day. The other thing is, because a lot of those teachers before school are in their classrooms, there's not a whole lot of supervision in the hallways in the morning. And so we want to make sure that everybody's safe, that everybody's doing what they need to be doing, and everybody is behaving in an appropriate way and living up to our expectations as a school. As far as the library goes, it's the same thing. We want kids in the library, and Mrs. Fernandez loves to have kids in the library checking out books and reading. I love to see kids in the library reading. One of the problems that we've had, however, is similar to the halls. A student may say they're going up to the library to read, when in actuality they have no intention of reading at all, but rather they just want to get into the halls and mess around and cause a disruption. So here in the near future, we will begin handing out library passes that will allow students before school and during lunch to have access to the library so that our students have access to books and are able to read here at school. So those are just some of the fundamental questions that came up. Again, I want to thank you for how good you've been this week and how much you've lived up to our expectation. I want to kind of wrap everything up with this overarching theme and focus that we have here at Fossil Ridge as far as our expectations are concerned, and that's respect. We've got to respect ourselves. We've got to respect our peers. We've got to respect the adults in this building. And finally, we've got to respect this building as a whole. If we can remember those four things, or if we can just remember the word respect, we're going to have a fabulous, unbelievably successful school year here at Fossil Ridge. Now, quickly, I want to just move on to some of our celebrations, recognitions, positive reinforcements for students meeting our expectations. So I just want to talk about a couple things. First of all, and many of you have already been handed these, but every adult in the building has access to these T-Rex cards. And throughout the week, on a day-to-day basis, a teacher, an administrator, a counselor, Mrs. Fernandez, who is also a teacher, any adult in the building who catches students engaged in appropriate behavior or catches students living up to our high expectations, one of those adults will give or can give any student a T-Rex card. Once a student gets a T-Rex card, that student would just take the card and simply write their name on the back of that card, as you see here, and then fold that card like so, and then take it to the T-Rex card box in front of the main office, and you would just simply drop that T-Rex card into that box. Some students may get multiple T-Rex cards during the week. You're going to want to put all your T-Rex cards in there that you get for the week. And then on Fridays, Mr. Woods will draw T-Rex cards out of that box, and T-Rex winners of the week will be chosen, will be called down to the office individually, and will be given a fabulous prize. So that's one way. Another thing we do on a weekly basis is what we call get your brain on. And this is similar to the T-Rex card in that this is a weekly occurrence here at Fossil Ridge. Each week, a different subject team, a different group of teachers is given the opportunity to provide names of students to Mrs. Brackett to request that certain students receive a Get Your Brain On award or Get Your Brain On t-shirt. So students are being nominated by their own teachers for a Get Your Brain On award. Again, this could be for a variety of things. It could be for academic success. It could be for great attendance. It could be for, again, living up to those high expectations, not only school-wide expectations, but expectations in the classroom as well. It could be significant improvement and growth in that particular case. It could be any number of things. Once these students' names are forwarded to Mrs. Brackett, then on Fridays, our Get Your Brain On students will be celebrated with a t-shirt, a certificate, a gift certificate to In-N-Out Burger for a meal at In-N-Out, and a note from the teacher who is recognizing them as to why that teacher chose to recognize that particular student. And then every week, we put on all the t-shirts and do a Get Your Brain On picture out in the main hall. So that's Get Your Brain On. The other thing we do on Fridays, you can start to see that Friday is kind of our celebration spirit day. We also have what we call Plinko. And this is a Plinko chip or a Plinko puck. And this is a game that we play in the main office. Again, students are chosen by Mr. Howell. And generally they are 2 6th graders and 2 7th graders, chosen by Mr. Howell for a variety of reasons, again, to come down to the main office and play Plinko. And as we play Plinko, students again can win various prizes. They could win a candy bar. They could win a free cardio day from PE. They could win T-Rex cards. They could win a front-of-the-line lunch pass. Or they could win a gift card to places like McDonald's or Subway or iTunes, and so on and so forth. So that's another thing that we do. Our big events and our newest events for the year are going to be trimester parties that we have for students. And these trimester parties will happen at the very end of each trimester. And each trimester, we're going to celebrate something different. And so at the end of each of those trimesters, we're going to do 3 different activities during the school day to reward students for meeting various expectations. One of our celebrations will be popcorn and a movie. Another one of our celebrations will be going to Washington Community Center to have a day of swimming and fun. And our third trimester party will be a barbecue outside with Mr. Howell, Mrs. Brackett, our counselors, Mr. Woods, and Mrs. Holt, and Officer Lewis. So how do you earn these parties? Well, one of them is going to be for academic success. So every student that trimester that earns a 3.75 GPA or higher will get to participate in that trimester party. Second trimester party will be built around effort and behavior and citizenship. And so students chosen by teachers and administrators and counselors and secretaries and paraprofessionals and everybody in the building will get to have a trimester party based on their behavior and their citizenship as a student. And then our third trimester party, which will actually be our last one, will be what we're going to call a no tardy party. Now, this won't have to be no tardies for the entire year, but students with 0 tardies, third trimester, will get to participate in our final trimester party of the year. Now, in addition to these items, we also have celebrations that go on in your individual classrooms with your individual teachers, and I'm sure that some of those things have already been explained to you in your classrooms. Another thing that we like to do at Fossil Ridge is call home and talk to parents to share the good news with our parents about their student. And then we also have T-Rex postcards that, again, any adult in the building can send home to your parents to, again, share the good news with them about the things you're doing at Fossil Ridge. So do we have a high expectation of you academically? We do. We expect every student in this building to learn at high levels, and we are willing to do whatever it takes to ensure that that happens. Do we have high behavioral expectations in this school for our students? Absolutely we do. Do we have high expectations for you in our classrooms? Absolutely we do. And when our students consistently meet those academic and attendance and behavioral expectations, we as a school will make sure that we celebrate that we recognize that we give our students a pat on the back, and that we share that good news with our parents. Because here at Fossil Ridge, it's about every child, every day, no matter what it takes. Have a great day, Fossil Ridge. Remember, it's always a great day to be a T-Rex. And as always, be excellent.